Today, we bring you a story of a fine gentleman who has proven to be a good leader, excellent, and a philanthropist. He is no other person but Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi. Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi was sworn in as the 6th president of the Development Association of Ebonyi State, Lagos, on the 6th day of October 2019, before the election that produced him. The association has passed through rigorous challenges ranging from embezzlement of the association funds, issues of trust crisis, issues of legitimacy of governance, dictatorship from the past leaders, disregard of delegates from her past leaders. It got to a point where the members, stakeholders, and even the government had begun to lose interest in the affairs of the association in Lagos. At this time, when this was happening, the need to have a new government was bated. Stakeholders and other Ebonyi in Lagos felt the need to rewrite the story in the association and to redeem the battered image of Ebonyi in Lagos. Consultations started. Interest were jettisoned. What was paramount in the mind of all stakeholders was the need to have the leadership that will command the trust and fellowship of the people. The current leadership under Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi was a collective effort of the stakeholders, opinion molders of Ebonyi in Lagos, who pressurized him to run. Ordinarily, he was not interested in running for the office, but we saw him as a man with a magic wand to bring the needed change we all desire. Leaders approached him. As obedient man that he is, he accepted the clarion call to serve his people. Today, we all are happy.
The arrival of the president of Daes, Lagos State, the man of the people, the honorable himself, the mayor himself. He just entered in the venue. He is the man of the day, the best president so far. That we pray that one day Nigeria will have someone like him as a president. Since his emerge as the president of this association has never remained the same.
It's been a tenor of transparency, a tenor of accountability, a tenor where Ebonyans have come to know who and what a good leader should be like. I am not eulogizing him for the mere sake of eulogizing him, because from where we're coming from to where when we had him, he came at a point in the life of Ebonyans in Lagos where we needed somebody who could be different from what we had. We had an administration that didn't want hitherto before he came, who didn't want to listen to what anybody was saying, more like an authoritarian leadership where only what the president says will stand. With just a few handful of his executive will decide on things, and then will now wash it down the throat of Ebonyans. And I mean, that was not leadership. That we had to, every time we are going to Abakaliki, the state capital, for peace talk, for conflict resolution, for settlement. So where their money was embezzled. So we now, and from there, that was where we're coming from a regime of no accountability, no transparency, where a regime where, in fact, the women, let me talk because I'm a woman, the women wing was non-existent because the regime didn't want to hear or see anything about women. So to where that an administration that now is now administration of inclusiveness, where whatever comes, he will contact me, contact the his executive, contact the women president. So, and everything was running smoothly. Whatever comes into Lagos for Ebonyans in Lagos must be shared equally. Shared local government by local government, shared accordingly, so that everybody will go home happy. So that is what we have seen. We have experienced, I will say, so I believe Engineer Dave Umahi, who is our governor, in his transparency regime, accountability regime, a regime that is that of inclusiveness, a regime that touches and affects the life of every Ebonyian, both home and in diaspora. That is what we experience here. So my people now say, so our president danced to the watching what His Excellency Engineer Apostle Dave Umahi was doing in the state, and he couldn't do less because we cannot accept anything less than what we have experienced, what we are seeing that is possible, what we have tested that good leadership is possible, where it will affect the people, the masses, and where everybody could have a say, could be included in the scheme of affairs here in Lagos and back home. So we couldn't have less, and we didn't expect less. So he lived up to the expectations, where we were coming from one bad regime to a very good regime, where now our leader, not only leaders are in Nigeria are known and are seen to be always grabbing, but this one, he was like, I am a student of School of Discipleship. There's something we call spent and be spent. He spent and he was spent, because he spent his money, his time, his intellectual property, his wisdom in running the affairs of ESDA Lagos. And he was also spent in spending his income, his finances, his contacts, in seeing that ESDA is taken to a new level. Where we are now wasn't where we are like 3-4 years back. No, we're not there. But I believe whoever that, just like we are saying, you know Ebonyi of last 8 years is not Ebonyi now. So that's just what has happened. So like they said, so from back home, we were beautifying ourselves, and then in Lagos the beauty has to radiate. That is just what has happened.
Felix Amah Nnachi is a good man. He has done fantastically well. He was elected unanimously. Of course, every government will have an opposition. So the opposition of mayor is a healthy one. For me, if you ask me to assess him, I only tell you that he has done well and he's still doing very well. Under him, so many things have been resolved. Under him, so many things have been achieved. People call him 13 president. People call him a capacity president. People call him experienced president. People call him all sorts of names. And that's the largest sense we go along with tell you that he's doing well. He's a capacity person indeed. Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, from my own calculation, my own reckoning, has listed his name among people that should be reckoned in the near future. So I've come on board, did well, and exited honorably.
The father of Ebonyi in Lagos, Major General Obiomahi, retired, also appreciated Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi for his leadership style, adding that the delegates should respect and obey the newly amended constitution of the association, as it is one of the achievements of Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi's administration.
The great efforts of the President of the Development Association of Ebonyi State, Mayor Felix Amah Nnachi. Since he took over as the president, before he took over, there was turmoil, confusion in the association. But since he came in, there has been a turnaround for good. And one of the things, or one of the legacies that brought on board is a new constitution, Iwu Jikọ Association in the Ebonyi State and Lagos. All we had Owo Association that Iwu, and I am happy without this. There can be no moving forward. Manihe uchari gunu biko ihe ọwụrụ na-eme ya rubere iwu a isi. Maka unu mecha iwu a ya mebe ihe abụrụ n'akwụkwọ ọ ga-etikasị Development Association of Ebonyi State.
Just like he promised during his campaign in 2019, to reform the association by making sure he restored the dignity and pride of the association. Within the space of 3 years, Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi has been able to deliver his promises. He organized the first end of the year party with his executives to thank delegates for supporting them during the association election in 2019 that attracted the likes of Senator Michael Amah Nnachi, Chief Julius Amoji Ochiri, Mrs. Ogechi Anasokalo, the executive assistant to His Excellency Engineer David Mweze Umahi, Governor of Ebonyi State, and the liaison officer, and many more. He inherited zero account from his predecessors. Today, the association can boast of millions of naira in the association account. Barrister Lawrence Kelechi Nweke, the General Secretary of the association, described him as a man with a magic wand. Despite the fact that he has made mark for himself, he still humbled himself, accept the clarion call of his people.
The current leadership, under the leadership of Dr. Mayor Felix Amah Nnachi, was a collective effort of stakeholders, opinion molders of Ebonyi in Lagos, because we felt we needed somebody who had already the trust and fellowship of the people to emerge as the leader of Ebonyi in Lagos. Having that at the back of our mind, we pressurized him to run. Ordinarily, he was not interested in running for the office, but we saw him as the man with the magic wand to bring the needed change we all expected in their years. So leaders prevailed on him, and as an obedient person as he is, he accepted the clarion call of the people to serve his people. Despite his position and status in the society, because he's a man that has made a mark for himself, both in public and private life. He worked as a security, as a police officer, rose to a very high rank, retired, and went into private sector. He had been chief security officer of several multinational companies and financial institutions. The most recent as the Chief Security Officer of Diamond Bank Nigeria PLC, and currently a top management officer in Access Bank. Despite his status and position in the society, he humbled himself to accept to serve his people as the president of Ebonyi in Lagos.
Chief Ifayobila is currently a member of the Board of Trustees, Daes, Lagos, representing Ebonyi South. He has been a delegate for over 10 years now, who told the media team that he was supposed to be the president of the Development Association of Ebonyi State in 2019, but left it for Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi because of his business schedules.
I was supposed to be the president of Daes, but because of my time schedule as a printer, because that time you go to Abakaliki, you stay 2 weeks, you are not back to attend to your business, I said, whom do I anoint to take over the leadership of this association? And when we were fighting both Ikele and stores for him to leave the position, Felix Amah Nnachi showed me some latent integrity in him. That was what made me to anoint Felix Amah Nnachi to take over the leadership. And since then, it has never been the same. Felix has used his money, personal, to leave the association to where the level it is now. We have never had it as good as this. This is a man that will, even when we want to go to Abakaliki, he will release all his cars for us to move. It has not been as smooth as this, and I know if there's a second tenure for this association, I know Felix will take us to Abuja more than what we are now. For today, the person coming in must know that it is a big task. The shoe Felix has left is difficult to fill. Because anybody that is taking wants to be president of Daes, your time will be involved, your money will be involved, your talent will be involved. The 3 T's must be there. And you know there are people, you know all these things is aura, the one God has given you. It's not everybody that's carved out for leadership. But all of us craved that we want to be a leader. It's not everybody that's carved out to be a leader. Because you must have that followership, you must have that intellect, you must have the resources. Nobody can lead Daes that does not have the means, because we are still very poor. You need somebody that can beat each other and say, okay, is it 100,000? Is it 200? From his purse, he will do.
Of all the presidents that has ruled this great association, Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi seems to be different.
In all sincerity, this current government was a clear departure from what Daes used to be in the past. In the past, we have had leaders that put their own personal interests first before the people. But now we have a leadership that, if I'm allowed, I will say, has no interest of their own. The only interest they have is the interest of the people, for the people, and for the people alone. And that has made it so easy to revive the association and bring it back to its former glory. If I'm allowed to assess this government, I will say has performed beyond expectation, considering the background, considering where we are coming from, considering how disorganized, how segregated the members were before the coming of this association. So I will say, under the leadership of Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, there is a kind of revival, a kind of transformation, a kind of reinvention of the association. There is this interest that people have developed in the affairs of Daes of late that has never been there before. Yes, I will not conclude without mentioning some of the achievements of the current administration. When we come in, we started with structural reforms to make the association a standard association. We created organs of leadership. We created committees, both ad hoc and standing committees. Why do we do that? We do that because we want to have many hands on the deck so that nobody will feel excluded from the leadership of Ebonyi in Lagos. We created these offices to get people to be involved in the running of the affairs of the association, which was not like that before. Before it was like a close-ended something where you don't even really know what was happening in the leadership. But the current government opened up the leadership of DAES, that everybody knows the activities of the association, everybody can tell the next step the association will take, and that made the people to now feel, oh, this government is our own. This is what we have ever wanted to have as a DAES leadership. The leadership has already laundered the image of the association positively since he came into government. Prior to the coming of this leadership, some of our critical stakeholders, government and other institutions, had begun to lose faith in the affairs and leadership of the DAES because of the way we have handled our affairs. But in the space of 3 years now, we have been able to revive and reinvent the image of the association. That now the government stakeholders are proud to identify with the association.
Mr. Clement Nwego, who is the first Vice President of the DAES Lagos, also portrays the fact that there is a clear difference between now and then.
Invariably, there is a clear difference. What do I mean by clear difference is that before our executive or we took over under the leadership of DAES, which I'm the first vice president, DAES have become another thing entirely, because the leadership position have been deteriorated, especially the president, who is led by Ikele. So the present government, we inherited zero account. Well, I will describe him as a man of integrity, a man of honor, a man full of principles, a man that has visions. When he says this is what he wants to do, we make sure we get there. So for that reason, I give him kudos, because you hardly see men of such. But by the grace of God, we have it, which is the Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi. Is a man that every man respects. Whosoever that we choose to be our next leader, one, we should give them support. Because it's when you support any leader that that leader will do well. By the grace of God, we are giving Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi the maximum support. And that is why we get to where we are today. And I believe by the grace of God, DAES will get to a better level.
Pastor Joseph Okawa, the second Vice President of the Development Association and the former General Secretary under Paul Ikele, explained the rigorous challenges the association went through in the past. They pointed out the areas the former president tried, as he was the one who registered association with the Corporate Affairs Commission (CAC) and grew the number of the autonomous communities from 40 autonomous communities to 120 autonomous communities. He also condemned his greed and reckless spending of the association fund, which led to his impeachment.
DAES have come of age by the grace of God. I remember that I joined DAES early 2008 and by 2011 I was made the organizing chairman of Ebonyi Cultural Day 2011. I was held at the National Stadium, Surulere. And then, under the chairmanship or presidency of Prince Nwokocha. Then Esther, has been on for a while, but I can remember that then we are not more than about max 40 autonomous community or town union as it were, that we used to call it then, that were members of DAES. And among these 40 autonomous communities, the active ones are not up to 20. And you can imagine what we record as membership or attendance anytime we have meeting. So from there, we grew, and then by 2016, there was a revolution that came into DAES through the person of Paul Ikele, who became president at by 2016, and then I become general secretary by then. Through his effort, there was an explosion of membership of ESDA, skyrocketing from 40 town union, which metamorphosed into autonomous community that we are using now, to at least 110 when I handed over, because I know as at our tenure during that 2016, the membership surged because there was massive campaign, a kind of going out to bring people to come and join DAES. In short, let me tell you, all the who is who that you are seeing today in DAES are an offshoot of Ikele government effort during 2016 that was exhausted by 2018. So we began to grow from there, from 40 to autonomous to 110, and to today. As I talk with you today, the story has not been the same. I think we are hitting about 150 autonomous community that is registered with ESDA. So it has been from grace to grace, grace to grace, grace to grace. So I've been migrating like that, and God has been on our side. I know that before I joined DAES, since 2004, when DAES become active in Lagos, Chief Igariwe have led this great association. After him, then Dr. Igwe led this great association. But Dr. Igwe, as a regime, was dented with controversies of embezzlement, because there was a cultural day that was held at Tafawa Blair Square in 2004, which is spearheaded, sponsored by the then governor of Ebonyi State, our able governor, now Senator Sam Egu. So there was a lot of embezzlement that took place that time, and then crisis broke out, and then from the crisis, panel was set from the government, and then the panel indicted him and some of his key members and all that. Then after him, after that crisis, Nick Egu was elected, and Nick did well, because during the panel, Nick was secretary then, but during the panel, when it was discovered that he was the only innocent person from the embezzlement that went on then, he was elected president. And then he couldn't finish his tenure. Then, because he couldn't finish his tenure, by the appointment given to him by the then governor of the state, which is Martin Elechi, who appointed him as his special assistant. So he left and then handed over to his first vice then, I can't remember his name now, who finished his tenure. So after the man finished his tenure, then election was conducted and produced Nwokocha, Prince Nwokocha. And Nwokocha also finished his first tenure and then went for his second tenure. During his second tenure, Governor Elechi also appointed him one of his coordinator in his development center. So he left and they handed over now to his first vice president, which was Julius Alimo. So Julius finished his tenure and then constituted a electoral committee that produced the Ikele. And then Ikele also, the regime was mad with controversy again, as I told you, because he did well in terms of mobilization, but he had this greed, attached to him. So 2016 Cultural Day was full of fraud. 2017 Cultural Day was, and then the height of it was 2018. And to worsen the matter, the money that was given for empowerment from His Excellency, 140,000, 130 to empower 520 people, and then 10 million for the executive to empower themselves. Ikele swallowed the whole 10 million. What he spent was about 550-something thousand that he gave, peanuts to the executive, telling us that we should wait when we finish the children's own, then they will do our own. We never knew that it was all fraud. So because of that, he couldn't finish his tenure. And then, since he couldn't finish his tenure with that crisis, then what is his name? Peter Lowe was brought in to finish his tenure. And then the panel was set and all that. So he finished his tenure. And then when Peter Lowe finished his tenure, which is just about a year plus, then the South insisted that at least the constitution permits that each zone should go second term. So since Ikele have done one term, South should produce the second. That was what brought Mayor Dr. Amah Nnachi. Mayor has achieved a lot. One, when he took over the mantle of leadership of DAES, sir, there was no 1 naira in the purse. But as I talk to you now, Mayor have built a purse of over 5 million naira. That one alone is an achievement. Because if he's leaving office today, he's not leaving office. Nobody is inheriting empty purse. He's handing over something to this. Two, we do not have a working document for DAES. Mayor have produced standard, constitution that you can take to the market anytime. You can take to the bank anytime for DAES. Now, Mayor have also brought what we call level playing field, both for the women, both for the short. During Ikele, he and women always fight. He and Elo always fight. And it is not far from the fact that he wants to eat, but he doesn't want others to join him. So, Mayor have abolished all that. Everything now is done equitably. I cut across the, the 3 senatorial zone, cut across the entire 13 local government, cut across this. Mayor, because of his trustworthy government regime, has earned the trust of the government of Ebonyi State that was lost during Ikele saga. So, if you give me, if I want to, I will continue to mention and all that. Then you may ask me, does he have any bad side? Because nobody that don't have bad side. His own bad side is good for me. Is good in disguise, in the sense that the only thing is that it doesn't, like during Ikele, if you let's assume you go for any decision. After doing, they say, okay, you do this, or you take this and go this. Mayor will not give you money to go and do any message. Go and do the message and come back. Go and walk. When you walk and come back, then you come and tell him what you walked. And if he's satisfied with it, he can even give you money from his pocket. But not to give you DAES money. He can never. In short, he preferred to give you his own money. That is my own. I felt that is his own area of this in here, because I think that he is serving public. I've told him time without number. I said the pace you're setting now, because you can't remain in DAES office forever and ever. The pace you're setting now, I am not sure anybody can match it, because he uses his money to do a lot of things, while the boss is there that he would have used to do it. So that is the only fault I see in his own.
Mr. Wu Charles Okechukwu, the Association Assistant PRO of DAES Lagos, appreciated the fact that Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi runs inclusive government, openness, equity, and fairness, adding that there is a clear difference now as compared to then.
It is my great privilege and honor to work with a very simple, honesty, and a sincere man like the president of the DAES, Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi. Ever since we come on board as the leadership of that association, we have been piloting the association with openness, with fairness, with equity and sincerity. In short, if you compare the you compare the DAES association now and previous one, we discover that there are a lot of differences. Before, DAES is full of lancome, it's full of quarreling, a lot of issues. But when the man took over power, he was able to harmonize a lot of things, bring many people together. Not only bringing many people together, then he was able to teach them how to lead as an example. A lot of things went wrong. Do you understand? If I'm to say there's an opportunity for us to say, okay, let somebody have a second tenure, I will be in a position to suggest that we elect him as the president of the association, because he have done marvelously well. He have led the association, he have worked seriously for the benefit of the association, and today, Ebonyi people in Lagos State have taken a new shape. People look at them before as a tout, but in this dispensation now, people look at them with seriousness and other things. So, we want to thank God for the kind of leadership that He brought to us. So, I want to say, may God continue to strengthen him, may God to continue to strengthen Esther. Even the present leadership, as they're planning to change leadership now, I pray that God will give us somebody that will have Ebonyi people in mind, such as it is. Do you understand? And God will help us.
The chairman of the media team, Mr. Emmanuel Akam Jr., has this to say.
Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi has actually done a great job as far as leadership of the Development Association of Ebonyi State is concerned. If you consider where we're coming from to where we are today, you will agree with me that it is no longer business as usual. Today, I can boldly say that Development Association of Ebonyi State is now the envious of other cultural groups in Lagos. We are not just praising him for the sake of praise. The truth is that the man have actually done a great job. And I will also advise the newly elected executive of DAES to run a transparent government, open government, and inclusiveness. Because Ebonyi as aggressive as an day, nobody will take anything lesser than what we have gotten already.
During the coordinator's visit to Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, the leader of the coordinators, Senior Comrade Ebonyi Maja Okotu, appreciated the president for giving Ebonyi in Lagos a standard. The association has never had it better before now. It has always been crisis, ranging from embezzlement of association fund and leadership tussle. He added that the next president must respect the office of the coordinator of 13 local government in the state.
What we used to know in the DAES Development Association is that when you become the president, whatever comes goes to your personal pocket. But since he came to office, he changed the narrative. He make all Ebonyans to have image and identity, that anywhere you find yourself, you can be proud of Ebonyans. He spends his money, personal money, his time to make sure that Ebonyi State move to the next level. We need more of his type. Since the ascension of a DAES, this type of visit have never happened before. And since President Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, aka 1313, are putting a structure, any incoming president of DAES that believe in him should work with the 13 local government coordinators for him to achieve what he wants to achieve. If he refuses to work with the 13 local government coordinator, I mean the structure already on ground,
yes, already
then definitely he will have fault.
Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi presented the finished compiled list of the beneficiaries of the empowerment program from the state government. The president of DAES, Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, called a meeting of the stakeholders of the association on the 26th of May 2022 to gather more information on the zone that should produce the next president. He appealed to all delegates to look at the issue critically as he does not want this issue to toll the peace his administration has enjoyed over the years.
Before Metro here open discussions on it, I want to appeal to us. I feel so proud of all of you. Why am I saying that? That I feel so proud? Because unu weputaram, unu nyem support. And that could also be seen in the attendance of this meeting. And it is seen in the activities of Development Association of Ebonyi State, since you people made me your leader. So unu support the executives, men and women. And that is why Development Association of Ebonyi State, I feel proud to say it anywhere, is the envy of every other Igbo association in Lagos. And we didn't achieve it alone. We achieved it with the firm support from all of us here, and then all the delegates in the Ebonyi. So I urge us, that spirit, let's continue in that spirit. Nigeria is so divided today, and the problem is about leadership. Some years back, we had a leader we all believed in, but today we are telling the story of how good that leader has been. I now have Ochichi by end of this year. Our tenure will finish by October. I think we're sworn in October. By October, our tenure will finish. And before the end of this year, we are going to conduct election. And following constitutional provision, by February, first meeting in February, a handover is done. So I urge us for this discussion on who will be the next leaders. I have gone through the history and record of DAES. DAES started as a former body in 1996. And they have been ruling themselves when they have until 2010. They now say there's a need for us to be rotating this team among the three senatorial zones in Ebonyi State to make things very simple. And they started from Ebonyi North, 2010, from President Mokocha. Finished his first tenure, elected the second tenure. The agreement was that each zone will have 2 tenures of 3 years. He had finished his first tenure, entered the second tenure, spent 1 year in the second tenure before he got an appointment at Ebonyi State. Then one of the first vice, who is from Central, by constitutional provision, acted in his place, not elected. 2010, he finished 10, entered the second tenure around 2002, 2013. So he acted only less than 2 years in the remaining tenure of the Lord. After which they handed over to the South. And even when he came to the handover to the South, it was the same Mokocha who started the administration, came down from Abakaliki and handed over to Paul Ikele. Paul Ikele started in 2016. Yes, sir, 2016. Paul Ikele started. Along the line, he had an issue. He was removed. They started to say it is still our tenure. We have to produce his replacement. And that's why they brought Elder Peter Lowe and subsequently our incumbent president, which is still from the South. Now that the South and the South is coming to an end, is it rational? Is it justice? Is it equity for us to say the same North who who handed over to South should start all over again. Where are the position of the Central? Are we now saying that the less than 2 years Alimu acted for the tenure of the Central of the North should now be assumed to be the tenure of the South, of the Central? That is our contention.
We are brothers and sisters that share striking similarity in almost everything. So we do not need to bicker for any reason. For me, I think our coming together is to reinforce our unity more. Most of the people that I met, I don't know them before, and I want to believe that unity is strength, and no matter because nobody can operate in isolation. And when this thing arose, I somehow afraid because in the south I have a lot of friends, in the central I have a lot of friends, and also in the north where I come from I have a lot of friends. This Uchifokente, you know, I don't know him until we met in Esther, even though he came from north. And for me, we are all assets to all of us. The issue of this rotational thing is very unfortunate because what actually bring this matter, should I say whether it is a negative thing or a positive, is as a result of appointment. So we are now having this matter as a result of rotational and a tenure distortion. Because from my findings, 2004, Ben Ebo, that was the president of this association, embezzled the fund. He has not completed his tenure, which is already a problem now because the issue now is that completion or not completion. He didn't complete his tenure, and the Central took over. The South did not agitate that we have not completed our tenure. Why should the Central take over? So what I'm trying to say is that it was not an issue, because the ESDA you see today was not the ESDA that we're talking about. When I joined ESDA was an illegal assembly. It was not registered. It was when we came that I came together with our presidents that we sat together and thought it wise that it should be registered, and we did register ESDA. So many things changed. I used to see about 15 autonomous communities in ESDA, but now we have almost more than 100 something autonomous communities that made up ESDA. So 2004, the Central Precinct took over. It was not an issue. South did not contest that because the place, just like Ikele embezzled money. And while we pursued him away, we told South that they should South said that we're going to complete our tenure, which they are doing now. So the Central people continued until they did the election in 2010. In 2008, he had appointment. Then South Basin came in. And from my findings, Oster that took over from the person that left didn't assume it was not a full-fledged president. He just came. That was the reason why his tenure was short-lived. He didn't have appointment. He was not sacked. It was to prepare ground for another person. Now, when he left, Mokocha took over. An appointment also came. Mokocha left. Then, from my findings, the South, the center that took over, the tenure of Nick Ewo, which is almost 4 years, plus the one that Aleno did, because the thing was tabulated here. All the people that we are once present was meeting them. So the number of years that the South has done is almost 7 years plus. Then minus from the one that Mokocha has done. So Central, I mean. So no, I mean the one that Mokocha did now. So the other one belongs to the Central. So I am thinking that for equity and fairness, that the thing should go to Ebonyi North.
Anyị sịkwara oru oge dị aga narị ya n'ụlọ tutu ya na amụ. Let us even go back to history, pre-Mokocha history. Ndị hand over to Nick on the south. is a southern person that handed over the president to Nikebu from Central. And Nikebu did not finish his first tenure. He was appointed in Abakaliki. Somebody from South, who was his first vice, Osita, completed the tenure of Nikebu. And Central did not seek for a re-election. I don't know the reason, but they did not seek for re-election. Wokocha came in from the north. That means power moved from south, central to north. Wokocha ruled completely 3 good years. That man gave his 4th year. He was appointed glory be to God, Tabakaliki. His first vice stepped into his shoe to complete it. In the course of Alimu finishing that tenure, the second vice was also appointed, Tabakaliki. It means that remaining tenure of Wokocha, they had no second vice or first vice. Because the main president and the second vice were all appointed. It was only him that piloted the affair of that remaining 2 years. We were not greedy for power. Otherwise, when you wouldn't keep it, would have said, let me contest my own. But he did not. He stepped aside. The South told him, through the Kenya, there was a government. We are all educated and exposed. Halfway Zoki and we are brothers. There's nothing we are fighting for. President Goodluck Jonathan, Kayara go Karo Yawara, Yara Ebonyi na Saudi Arabia. He did not transmit power for Jonathan to be acting president and honorary president in Nigeria. Nobody was to perform the functions of the office of the president. That power was not transmitted. The man Kakepando was just was sick. That was when the National Assembly developed the doctrine of necessity and passed that power on your hand area on our police area. In the course of Jonathan's acting as a president, Yorado Amegini, no, Adasu Ezeya as a president to finish that remaining 2 years plus of Yarado. The whole country and the constitution and all the law courts agreed that Naga Hocherona and Yorado brought tenure. That was why the law and the court cleared him to contest 2011 election. They cleared him again to contest 2014 election. And he also got a form now to contest 2023 election. Meaning, no finish return of Yaradua does not mean that has been won his tenure. We are only asking the honorable distinguished ladies and gentlemen of Daes to apply the principle of Yaradua Jonathan to our case. Daes.
Progress. Both these our new constitution we have to pass a resolution. Something is still missing there. Because we did not really specify. If not finished, go to Central. If Central finished, you go to North or you go to South. It's not there. That is one. Please, people should note it. Because we never knew that this kind of thing would come. Secondly, I want to ask our house, will we take the acting capacity of Alemo to be, because from all indication, which means was the turn of the Central to operate after Mukocha, if that was the agreement. What Alemo did was completion of Mukocha's term, which was 2 years. Which was 2 years. No, what each zone was allowed 3 years. 6 years. Which is 6 years. Mukocha did 3 years. And on the 4th year, he was given an appointment. So that if I go tomorrow, God calls me, good enough. But what I'm saying, I want to ask for us to take a decision, I want to know if it was the turn of after the north, if it was the turn of the central to take off. But because that Alemo has finished 2 years of Mokocha, then we're now counting it, that is the tenor of the central that he has used. I want us to use that to do the justification. But for me, I feel it's the turn of the central. No matter whose source is God, I'll say the way it is. Thank you.
The claim of Ebonyi North was that since the creation of the association in 2006, Ebonyi North produced only one president.
From 2006, that's the section of this meeting. North, Central, and South have been in power. It is only 2 or 3 years Ebonyi North man has been a leader of this organization. What I'm saying is this: for justice, equity, and fairness, let the power go back to work.
On the other hand, Ebonyi Central are saying that they are not interested on what happened before the emergence of Prince Mokocha as president of the Development Association in 2010, amended the constitution of DAES. The delegates agreed that the leadership of the association should be zoned to the 3 senatorial zones with a tenure of 3 years, and after 3 years, the zone has the right to recontest for another 3 years before it will be zoned to another zone, which kicked off from Ebonyi North in 2010. In the person of Prince Mokocha as the president then, he did his first tenure and re-elected in his second tenure. In between 1 year going into the second year, he was appointed by the then governor of Ebonyi State, Chief Martins Elechi, as a coordinator. His first vice president, in the person of Chief Julius Alimo, acted in his absence and finished the remaining 1 year and some months in acting capacity. In 2016, the association zoned their next president to Ebonyi South, which produced Chief Paul Ikele as the president. And when Paul Ikele was impeached due to financial misappropriation, Ebonyi South insisted that the next president would still come from the South in order for them to finish their tenure, which brought late Elder Peter Alo and our incoming president, Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, both from Ebonyi South. On that note, Ebonyi Central are saying that it is their turn to produce the next president. After much deliberation, Ebonyi Central and Ebonyi North was asked to meet and agree on which zone should go first. After several meetings which ended in deadlock, Ebonyi Central, through Elder Ogbonnianweke from Ezza South Local Government Area, addressed DAES delegates on 3rd of June 2022 during the monthly general meeting of DAES on the final resolution reached between Ebonyi Central and Ebonyi North senatorial zones on the position of which zone should produce the next president of DAES.
So nna ya onye ọbụla kịta ka anyị were udo wee hazie ihe a udo chiachi ka anyị were ofu obi kịta si oke n'ime ala obi anyị ikekwe nọ ndị a ka oru mana udo dị n'etiti ụmụnne ngwa ndị nke ha jebe ka anyị kwekọrịta otu ahụ ma ọ bụ oke na ndị a ka oru mana ndị a ha dere jụọ ka ndị a jee Sonya bụ ihe nchọrọ ka anyị guzobe kịta wee yọọ ya Chineke ka o wee mee ya.
Thank you very much, Eze Nwafọ. Ogologo benediction ta ka irema ogologo.
Atọ.
Eda ogbona nwe keneka. No ma le ko krenya ta ko ba gbe awo shigere. Olu tikeji ko bo fuge ma bo gbasa ofu anjonjo. Eda ogbona nwe keneka. Oja nya bro oja won cha ibele niyan lori ai ma bule asle ma Emalema. Obe me wa lo ibi ogbo ibe bi dibo me. Agbala bo me ko gbala. So masike eda ogbona nweke ke oye ka haranyo ni wono ya ndo shiri be sa anya no gbara fe ka bi bibire me usanya sia. Iba toto bo dia.
Abakaliki block ekele mu no. Yeah. Oh, do you blame Malekwa Jesus? Solomon. Get you be no kwamo. Ikwe tege rube dia gobe. Ngele leaders are pushing me we pushing me. Odo me kwa no do kari ole gbe ble. Matu futaya sibia mo gogono. Ada true fon mo lomume. Ordinarily oto we kola zongu nem. Mabu north mabu central.Ikola no ba imbo. Oh yeah na. Malo geli ngba kwata youth sekeli. Oh yeah. God no nta. Ba nta akwa the look. We have met severally and the meeting ended in deadlock. It was like Konobo. Mbema surrender what I have of. If you can know. But I'm not having a lot of personal interest. Lola and Lego were the evidence so that available before us. And so about they make a good question me. You could central Boruberi. You want to have to call it Uruberi. I've been by Uruberitocracy. I don't call it dictionary Uruberitocracy. Well, God, we don't know. Yes. Yeah. But equal so fobo. Kwetala shaba shoba. Zati tomorrow. About Bilisi who are dog fobo. Don't say this is not Oba market too. No we can support. But support this is Oba market. Go ahead. Galumuna yasranye amakalo no bi kweruge. No let you find Angelo or gonna kanya after I'm bogren. We bring again. Who can say Nuche. So they can be a belly hunter 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, but I'm in the central no kogeri. I soon know what to buy. Aglago Kenya go mata. Don't you ever so me? No, you can't bend the central kogeri. I know you don't lie. Look
Ekumenyi's family played fatherly role by allowing their younger brother to go before them. But Ebonyi Central's emphasis is on the fact that the display of maturity of the zone should not be taken for granted. Just as our digital elder said, and I quote, "No victor, no vanquished."
We have looked at the whole thing. I actually now behind the side of now, the next DAES president should come from the north. So my northern brothers, there's no vanquished, no vanquish. No Hulabanu. No vanquished, no vanquish. No Hulabanu. No Hulabanu. I thought you should clap your hand. No vanquished, no vanquish. Only superior knowledge and understanding prevail. Yes. We are the elder brother, and we are one. We don't have any issue. But what I want to appeal to the authorities of DAE is that going forward, please, this issue of zoning should be properly harmonized and properly encrypted into our constitution to avoid future misunderstandings. Now that we are saying this for 4 years, make it clear from south to north, from north to central. And another cause is that if by any mistake a president was removed or he resigned, let it be clear that the person who will take over must come from the same zone. So this issue should be laid to rest. So when we have resolved, even if anybody has personal interest can never outweigh
asị na ifeọma unu mere anyị nabatara ya udo ga-adịrị unu dịrịkwa anyị nwa ekene onye gwọrọ akịdị ekelekwa dịrị ya ekene onye nyụrụ akụ ekene dị nụrụ isi ya
in the north and central. On behalf of the house, for this peaceful resolution, which means, as it stands, rotational presidency has started. DAES
Progress
is starting with North, and when the North finishes, after 4 years, it goes to Central. There's no ambiguity about it. And when Central finishes, it comes to
South.
DAES
Progress.
Progress.
DAES.
And our constitution is unambiguous about it. If for any reason the president from North leaves within a short space of time, not more than 2 months or so, the North will produce another person. It is clear there. So, and I believe we won't run into this kind of situation we found ourselves.
Yes,
So,
It was on that note that the leadership of DAES inaugurated a LECO committee to oversee and conduct the 2022 DAES General Election, which was slated to hold on November 5th, 2022.
I want to thank all the members of DAES for finding us worthy to conduct this assignment. I also, on behalf of the members here, want to express our willingness to serve DAES in the capacity we have been so elected. As time goes on, we will present to you our plan to deliver the credible elections. But today, we just want to thank you for finding us worthy. And we also want to ask you that we cannot claim to know everything. When you have suggestions to make us more effective, we'll be very happy to receive them. But we'll take responsibility. Thank you so much. Aye.
Solemnly swear.
Solemnly swear.
I will be faithful.
I will be faithful.
Obedience.
Obedience.
To the Constitution of DAES.
To the Constitution of DAES.
I will be loyal.
I will be loyal.
To carry out this assignment.
To carry out this assignment.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
I will not allow my personal interests.
I will not allow my personal interests
to conflict with the interests of the general of DAES.
To conflict with the interests of DAES.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At the end of the election, Chief Innocent Wangbo was elected President of the Development Association of Ebonyi State, DAES, through voice vote after his opponent, Comrade Clement Wego, stepped down for him.
Standing before us is Mr. Wangbo Innocent Wangbo. He applied to be your chief servant in the capacity of President of DAES, Lagos, for the period starting from February 2024. If anybody is in Ebonyi house today for this event, I expect the person to be in here, quiet and attentive. And if we are here for this position and we want Mr. Wangbo Innocent Wangbo to serve in the capacity of president come February 2024, can we say aye? if any person is here and doesn't feel like Mr. Wambo Innocent Agu should serve in that capacity, could you please say nice?
We still get
The 16 elective positions that were unopposed, the ELECO asked them to come out and read their manifesto to the entire delegates. The ELECO, based on the presentation of their manifesto, asked the contestants questions.
One question each from Central and North. Any questions for him? Okay, just saying the same, you should take a bow. Take a bow and go. Next person to speak to us.
The ELECO presented a certificate of return to all the contestants who were elected through voice vote. The president-elect, Chief Innocent Wangbo, who gave his acceptance speech on behalf of the other elected executives, has this to say.
First, I pay tribute to my campaign organization under the leadership of Isa and the man that has a capacity of saving wonderful men put together. Thank you, Denisa. I want to thank everybody because at the point, my campaign organization turns out to be everybody. I want to specifically acknowledge and note the role of the vice president of this association in the person of Paris Agreement, he was initially opposed by candidacy along with people that we have been. But at the point, we discussed and we told him categorically that it was very important to take away from it. And that I will forever hold it that. Thank you very much. On that note, for the reason that this mandate is given to me by all of us as one, leaving no trace to any losing individual or nobody. So it is a duty for us, it's a duty for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Elder Dr. Dominic Mwibo, the choice, who expressed his happiness, noted that history has been made today. He further thanked Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi, the incumbent president of the Development Association of Ebonyi State, for his leadership style.
History has been made today. But in a special way, I want to thank our president. I want to thank him because he has done so well. At times, when certain things are happening, you may not really understand the full import of that thing. But with time, you will begin to see. Why I'm saying this is this. 2017, I went to Abakaliki. By the grace of God, I studied political science from UNN. And they were having something. They were having a program in Ebonyi State. National. Department of Political Science. National. So I ran into one of my lecturers. He said, Dominic, did you come for this program? I said, sir, I didn't know. I didn't know that this type of program is happening here. He made a statement that I meditated over that statement for a while. And every time it keeps ringing in my mind. He said something. He said, if anybody comes to Ebonyi State today, they will have a different view, a different perception about Ebonyi State and about Ebonyi people.
On the 3rd of February 2023, the stakeholders and the entire delegates of the Development Association of Ebonyi State gathered again for a new chapter of our great association, Daes Lagos. Chief Innocent Wangbo was sworn in on the 4th of February 2023 as the 7th elected president of the association.
I, Ebonyi Innocent, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful
I'm here to announce the Development Association of Ebonyi States.
The Development Association of States.
DAES. Lagos State. That as the president. Of the Development Association of Ebonyi States. Lagos State. I will perform my functions honestly to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Development Association of Ebonyi State and any other laws or rules that may be made from time to time, and always in the interest of integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the state, of the association. I will strive to preserve the aims and objectives contained in the Constitution of the association. And that I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the association. That I will not allow my personal interests to influence my official conduct and all decisions, and will be right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the fourth schedule of the Constitution of the association. So help me God.
The legal advisor of our great association, after the swearing in, thanked the immediate past president of the association for his in-depth leadership and his role during the DAES election.
I will clearly say that this transition that just took place a few minutes ago has never happened in the history of Development Association of Ebonyi State, Lagos. And it is as a result of the man that allowed the affairs of the association. No other person than the Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi. I want to say that today is on record that Development Association of Ebonyi State, Lagos has observed a peaceful transition to a new government. I am happy.
I'm the chairman of Amman Development Union, Lagos branch. It was my inclusion or attendance in Amman Development Union that I was introduced to the Development Association of Ebonyi State. In 2014, my community made me the chairman of Amman Development Union. And then that association has been growing from strength to strength. And what did we do? You know, in Ebonyi State Development Association, which actual name is Development Association of Ebonyi State, Lagos. Membership of that association is community-based in such a manner that each autonomous community in Ebonyi State that is in Lagos is represented in that association. It was based on that, not on the base of local government, that my community, Amman Development Union, was registered in Development Association of Ebonyi State. That was far back in 2014, and it was the pioneer president. Why I would call him pioneer president is because he was the person who registered the Development Association of Ebonyi State, Lagos, as a corporate body. And I must give him that respect and ingenuity. Who am I referring to? Dr. Paul Ikele. You know, Ikele was the president then. You know, he was not the president. It was Alimo that was the president when I joined the Development Association of Ebonyi State. And it was the turn of Ebonyi South to produce a president. That was how Ikele emerged. It was Ikele that, you know, made the association, you know, to be well known. And what did Ikele do? He approached me and said he wants me as the responsible son of Ebonyi State, you know, to be a member of Board of Trustees of the Development Association of Ebonyi State. And what was involved? He said we need to pay some money, you know, I think about 100,000 or thereabout, you know, as a BOT. And then we will also support the registration. And I also inquired from him the other people who will be members of the BOT and mentioned some notable names like Chief Innocent Mwangbo. You know, I said okay, because I had also known Mwangbo. And then that was how he registered the association and then made us members of the Board of Trustees with Augustine Nwego. You know, Nwego is now Eze. He was just like any other delegate, you know. So all of us became the members of the Board of Trustees with Ifeanyi Odi, you know, who is from Ebonyi South. So we became members of the Board of Trustees of the Development Association of Ebonyi State. And the Ebonyi South unanimously, you know, brought him out to contest for the president. And we gave him our every support. And so he won. I think that was 2016, you know, so he was elected the president of that association. And during his tenure, you know, he registered the association and then gave them a mini constitution that was in papers, you know, and they were working with it as a working document, you know, until 2019 thereabout, you know. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State, dissolved the leadership of the Development Association of Ebonyi State. I think that was in 2018, you know, and then appointed Peter Alo as the president then, you know, to work alone and see that there's a transition. You know, so Peter Alo was the president from 2018 to 2019, and so he completed the first 3 tenure of Dr. Ikele. Good. So that's the journey so far. And so when Peter Alo, at a time with the Board of Trustees, we met and then said, no, this leadership vacuum, we must do something about it. And so we met with the General Assembly and then reviewed everything. We met with the liaison officer, Mrs. Ogechiana Sokalo, met with General Omahe, who is today the father of Bonyas, and tabled our problems and said we need to get government buy-in for us to return the association to an elected executives, you know, instead of one person being managing the association. And they gave us their buy-in, and we made the necessary contacts for us, and then government gave a nod that we should constitute another election. You know, it was in the course of that election in 2019 that I was asked to run for that position of president of Ebonyi people. And who are the people that asked me to run? The members of the Board of Trustees. And one reason they gave was that they want stability, somebody who will pioneer the affairs of this association to limelight, you know. And I obliged them. And in that year, I was elected the president with other executives, you know, for a 3 tenure, to complete the tenure of Paul Ikele. And so that is where we are. What inspired me was to show leadership, to show good managerial skills. I've been in the police force, I've been in the banking sector where I am up till now. And so if I can manage, large number of people, why wouldn't I manage my people and show them leadership? These are things I've done repeatedly over and over again in various sectors of Nigerian economy. So when they found me fit to lead them, I felt reluctant. But when the pressure was much on me, I said, no problem. But I'm not going to lead when I don't have your support. So I had to tell them, I need the support of everyone for me to lead Ebonyi people in Lagos. And they said, if it is what you want, we'll give you that support. And so I was elected. And I said, for me, when you are doing one thing the same way over and over again, you don't get results. And so during the campaign, I said, we must do things differently. If you recall, the number of people who were attending meetings, even when I joined, was not up to 50 Ebonyi, and we have almost over 1.3 million Ebonyi people in Lagos, but 50. Though the membership is by delegateship, every community will produce 5 delegates. If you go through the 140 communities we have in Ebonyi State, which almost about 120 are represented in this Lagos, you'll be having about 600 delegates in each of those meetings, but you just have 5. And I also discovered that the quality of people who were coming for the meetings, didn't showcase who we are, what Ebonyans are, because we had a lot of intellectuals, we have a lot of business magnates, we have a lot of technocrats, but some of them decided to be on their own. And my watchword, was transparency, accountability, and then inclusiveness, which is the tripod, my administration campaign, was run. And when we got elected, I had overwhelming majority of votes, about 279, as against my colleagues who had, I think the other one 39, and So with that overwhelming vote, it behoves on me, to live up to what I have said or what I have told the people I will do. And we continued. And if you watch very well, all the electoral promises I made to Ebonyi people, because I had to campaign to the north, to the central, I had to campaign to the south. It was a rigorous one. I just didn't, I was not elected a president just because everybody likes my face. I really worked hard for it with the campaign team, which comprised of notable Ebonyi sons from all the zones. And we had this victory. I have to specially thank Ebonyi indigenes in Lagos for their cooperation. I would also thank the liaison officer, of Ebonyi State in Lagos, Mrs. Ogechana so Carlo, the members of the board of trustees of this association. I thank them. I thank my executives. I thank the local government coordinators, and then the AZs and elders in council who have also been helping us in managing our people in Lagos. I also thank the elders, and more also the senatorial leaders. These are structures we have created to manage Ebonyi indigenes in Lagos, and it has been working, and it will continue to work. I want to thank Chief Ifeanyi Odi, because in my administration, he supported us, financially. He's a great son of Ebonyi, anytime, anywhere. And my great thanks goes to our father, Major General Ebonyi Omahi, who has been very supportive. He directed and piloted us. As a father, when we are making mistakes, he will call us to order, advise us, and we have been following his advice, and things have been working well. I also would thank His Excellency, our dear governor, in Engineer Dave Oma, for his support, to us for this period. I've been at the helm of affairs of Ebonyi people in Lagos, because his magnanimity brought about most of the unity we are also seen in Lagos, because you can't lead hungry people. You can't. So he's been able to support us financially, support us with palliatives, to help. One area they've not done well is getting Ebonyi sons in Lagos who have them, to help them in running the affairs of Ebonyi State in Abakaliki. Because there's no Ebonyi son that was appointed a commissioner. There's no Ebonyi son that from Lagos that was made a permanent secretary, no Ebonyi son that was given any office, And so, but we are hoping that, there will be changes. We have a lot of people here who will help to support and add color to what is happening in our dear state.
We would like to appreciate everyone who, in one way or the other, contributed/supported administration of Mayor Dr. Felix Amah Nnachi. The show must go on as we anticipate a better and greater DAES on the new government led by Chief Innocent Wangbo. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share this video.